fairly light as well. The WZ-111 giving it a bit of extra beef. But overall, fairly similar lineups for both teams.
Well, looking at these lineups right now, this engagement favors a quick engagement out of Wargaming. They do not want to allow those consistent fire tanks a lot of time to really constantly rifle off shots.
Right.
And looking at how these teams set up, they've sent all their bad shots towards the north and just the 50Bs in the south. Now, the problem is Nitz is once again going to that little defilade in the middle there. Now, he may get caught out, but between the bat chats and the 50Bs, they may be able to isolate him. This could just be a blatant counter to what Apex ran earlier. Like I said, I didn't think they were going to break out anything. And now it all comes out. They spot the bat chats in the north, the 50Bs rifling off shots. Nitz taking some damage, but a lot of damage going off, and the first bat chat gets deleted.
Yeah, Quiet just getting absolutely decimated. I don't think he even really got a shot across there at all. And now Wargaming, they have to respond to this one quickly because losing a tank early on in the piece is never going to be great, but if you don't get the trade out, then things are just going to be awful for you. And I mean, they're getting some points on the cap, but obviously that's not their option really at this point. They need to get those kills. The AMX 50Bs here trying to put some damage into Nitz, but that's a tier 9 tank. That's not the tank that they need to be focusing on.
Well, Nitz very quickly recognized the situation he was in. He ran over to the fountain, and that took those 50Bs out of the fight, and they don't have shots right now.
Yep.
And so their bat shots are just getting beaten up on in this village.
The good thing though here for Wargaming is that they do have quite a lot of damage over on towards this side of the map where Apex does not. And if those AMX 50Bs, you know, can survive and get another couple of shots off, maybe there's still something in this one here for Wargaming if they can pull back a little bit of HP at this point. But
look at the south right now.
Exactly.
Look at this. The 50Bs are going to go down for almost free. They're not even loaded right now. Bouncing the first shot, and this should be over, and Apex should be able to walk away with this. They just need to hurry up and close out and kill Nice right now.
Yeah, Nice is actually still alive here. He can get a shot across to Photo Finished, although Guanren probably going to be the one to close it out. Photo Finish avoiding the shot of Nice there, who will probably get the rest of his clip off here, but apart from that, I think he's probably going to be all said and done for this one. Getting those shots into the Batchat 25T AP, interestingly enough. Guanren in the meanwhile does take down another kill. So I still feel like Wargaming, I mean, they're losing a lot of tanks here, but they've got still quite a lot of damage on the field. Maybe I'm just grasping at straws here at the moment because when I come back and have a look at Apex's HP, I just feel like, oh, Wargaming not going to be able to deal with that.
Yeah, well, and I love the recognition out of Apex. They understood, all right, well, they're going to try to go for the cap fast, stack 3 on cap. They completely ignored Nice, and that 50B just shot them as they left. Sometimes teams get held up. They stop there just to get shots off. But they just drove right past them. They understood he was reloading, made sure that they cleaned out that cap, didn't want to leave anything to chance or let it get down to a time where they really have to start panicking, and they managed to close out that series.
Yeah.
Dodoma there, you know, showing how excited he is to get that first round win.
Quick win on the board there for Apex, really, and I guess goes to show again, EL just that constant aggression, charging right in there, trying to force the fight early on in the piece. Didn't work out for them very well. Quiet going down straight away. Probably, I don't think actually got any damage across there at all, and that's awful in a bat chat.
Yep. Well, and just looking at the positions, though, the only way those 50Bs could have gotten into the fight was shooting the tanks in the north. And they got a few shots off at Canadian Impact in that bat chat, but they couldn't really get on to photo finish in that 113, and Nitz very quickly recognized the situation he was in and turned around before he was even spotted and got behind that fountain. But overall, Apex just read it very well. They understood, all right, this is a team that likes to play very aggressive. They had so many guns trained on that cross that when they made that push, there was guns lighting them up. They lost one bat chat and took almost half the HP off another. So before that thing even started, Wargaming was down. And once again, as an attacking team, you need to have some sort of advantage going into a fight, whether it's just a blatant overmatch or you've done enough damage to their team that you can kind of trade a little bit. And once you actually start the engagement, you're even on HP, even with the other team getting the good, positive early trades. Yeah,
Wargaming, though, obviously on the attack there, difficult on Runeberg to win on the attacking side, so maybe there's still something in it here. Maybe a 1-1 like we expected, but as you said, a great start for Apex. They look very comfortable there, and having a look at the damage stats here, it just, again, is going to be really the story of that one. The AMX 50Bs there for Apex doing a good amount of work in the 113s as well.
Yeah, well, once again, External and Akula, they were just sitting there on top of the Delta Village. They weren't even looking south. They felt the push was going to come up from north, so they were sitting there on the cross. And the second those bat shots were lit, Dodoma and Akula were just able to, External, were just able to rifle off shots towards them. They pretty much ignored those 50Bs. Once they had the damage, they had those bats contained, then they turned their focus to the 50Bs in the south and just went and isolated them.
One shot coming out from Quiet, one shot coming out from Fox TS. Definitely not enough, and even only 2 coming out from Black. Really not ideal on either of those or any of those tanks, really.
Nitz there, not able to really get into the fight, not really able to do a whole lot of damage. Now, it was great recognition for him to run away and get behind that fountain, because he would have gone down for almost free if he had stayed there too much longer. However, in doing such, he really wasn't able to get into the fight, wasn't really able to put off any shots that were useful, essentially. So just not really able to be in there, but overall, the rest of the team did enough to where it didn't matter.
Yeah, pretty much. This is, of course, EL Gaming's pick as well here on Runeberg, so they definitely want to be picking up at least the second half here. They definitely don't want to be getting 0-2'd. And I mean, like we said, it's always a possibility that Himmelsdorf is going to go 0-2 in the way of Apex. So I think it's quite important here that Runeberg actually does go to a 1-1.
No. Yeah, looking at the lineup that EL Gaming brought, the thing that I'm not a fan about, especially on a map like Runeberg, is that sort of lineup doesn't favor any sort of play other than aggressive. Yeah. It doesn't, you know, they're talking about kind of switching up their play, but having that much burst damage and having no consistent fire tanks, no tanks with armor, that only favors, you know, going into an area and getting up on tanks early, because you can't kill everyone with one set of clips. You have to get into multiple clips, and the only way that'll pay off is if you get 2 or 3 picks with that first wave, and then you have time to run away, and the other team can't punish you in that window.
Yeah.
And with this, it just turned into, all right, we're going to push in, and even once they were able to get there, they just weren't able to do enough damage.
I like when EL Gaming's playing, because you always know when the game's going to start.
Yep,
they always
hear the chants.
have a bit of a yell.
It startled me when I was downstairs, because I'll start yelling. I'm like looking around like, what's going on?
Yeah, they have sort of like a war cry. I don't know what it actually means, but they all yell at each other. And
looking at the lineup,
that's interesting.
3 TVPs, 2 113s, a bat chat, and an RU-251 out of EL Gaming. A lot of burst of those TVPs, a very quick amount of burst.
Yeah.
Apex, 3 bat chats, tier 9 bat, 2 113s, and once again, the 430 V2. Interesting little choice there. And once again, it's actually Dodoma, one of the main tier 10 players, dropping down into that little medium tank.
All right, well, important one here for EL Gaming. If they want to have a good chance in this series, they need to pick this one up on Runeberg, make it 1-1. Apex out on the attack, making some different movements to what EL Gaming did. They're going to be heading, at least for now, by the looks of things, in towards that 2 flag. And Dodoma as well, just covering off that sort of middle alley. Makes life so difficult for EL.
If you look at it, it's almost an identical lineup out of... not identical lineup, but identical positioning out of EL Gaming, taking very aggressive Delta line control, or Delta Village control, excuse me, just have the 1 light tank lighting in the south. This is actually something I haven't seen before. They've just YOLO'd essentially the light tank into a very aggressive bush. Now, if they try to close or go to cap, he may get spotted, but he's going to spot them before they leave those buildings, and they have enough TVPs and stuff forward that if they do, they should be able to punish them before they can get close enough to light them.
Some exchange of fire here between the 113s, but no one actually managing to penetrate just yet. There's another shot going across, and neither of them are going to penetrate that one either. So just small exchanges of fire, really. Nothing too committed just yet from either team. Quiet already taking a little bit of damage there for EL Gaming, but not too much to worry about just yet.
Dodoma just side-scraping that corner, just trying to find shots towards the Delta Village. I don't think he realizes quite exactly where the rest of those TVPs have moved for EL Gaming. All 3 of the TVPs essentially on Overwatch for Black in that RU-251. I have their bat chat passive up north at A6, just making sure nothing comes through there. Don't think he realizes that Canadian Impact's up there yet. I would expect EL Gaming, or Canadian Impact's going to come around that corner and start blind firing the bushes, see if he gets any connections. Or he may even just push in and try to light them and see if Photo Finish and Nits in that middle road can possibly get shots on him.
Do you think the RU-251 here maybe should be a 1390?
I don't think in this situation it doesn't quite matter as much. They have roughly the same camo value. I think 1390 is a little bit better, yeah. But just in terms of the long run and also just the uniformity of lineup, showing the team the same thing they saw earlier. Maybe they saw a different strat out of them. It just kind of plays those mind games. I don't necessarily know that having the autoloader in this situation would be hugely effective.
All right, well, I mean, EL Gaming do very rarely, I think, pick up the 1390. They actually do favor the RU-251 in most situations. But for now, neither is going to be too big of a task for Apex to deal with. I mean, although in saying that, I guess the RU-251 in that position, not something that they might expect. They're going to start to rotate around a little bit through the town here. Let's see what they're going to be doing.
Dodoma taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, he certainly is, down to 699 HP, but Well, no more HP left. Is he going to be taken down? A bit of a cheer comes out from EL Gaming as they pick up the first kill of this one. And, well, this might be a mistake here from Apex. They're going to charge right out the middle and lots of damage coming their way. And, well, they do manage to pull back one kill onto Sunmi. But you've got to question, is it going to be worth it considering how low all of the, well, external, and well, we've seen Dodoma go down already. So you have to question, is that really worth it?
Well, this goes to pretty much prove what we were talking about earlier. EL Gaming's up by a significant amount on HP. I don't see a whole lot of options left for Apex to get back into this. Flag here loses his ammo rack, bounces a couple shots from Canadian Impact.
Yeah, he does repair it, but he's still got another repair kit as well, so not too bothered by things in that sort of a situation. And for now, EL Gaming, or rather Apex, going to disengage the fight. Try and have another crack at it from some sort of a different angle. I mean, they've got some 113s into a nice forward position, but yeah, EL Gaming know pretty much exactly where they are.
And right now, Flag moving back into that aggressive position on the 6th line, right as Nits and Photo Finish push around. At this point, it's going to be up to Apex to try to get into this village. Now, they don't quite recognize that Black is there, and he should get spotted here in a second, and you have to think he's going to get completely deleted. Nits and Photo turn around. They open up onto him. One more shot should finish him off.
Yeah, he needs a bit of backup here. He's going to go down for sure, but there needs to be some sort of a response from EL Gaming, and well, that's pretty much a free kill for Apex there at the moment, though Nits is starting to take a little bit of damage. Is he going to go down now is the question. Oh, this is going very poorly, I think, for EL Gaming. They do get a couple of kills, and there we go. It's starting to stabilize a little bit, but Quiet, he took so much damage, and he's been taken down. Still, though, 4 versus 4, Apex have been allowed to come back into this one a little bit, it feels.
Yeah, but External down to a one-shot with the dead driver, so I don't know how much he's really going to be able to do right now. Flag, once again, is trying to get off some shots towards Photo Finish on that cap. They do light Germ in that bat chat. However, Germ pokes up and takes down the TVP from EL Gaming.
Yeah. It's, again, another TVP just goes down without much of a response here from EL Gaming. Luckily, they still have a bit of HP to play with. This shot needs to connect and doesn't. This is starting to look a little dangerous for EL Gaming. They've allowed the player advantage to go the way of Apex. At least they have that HP to play with. That's the real takeaway here. And what are we going to see coming out from Guanren? He's always the playmaker here for EL Gaming in that bat chat. And he'll come around the corner, does take down External. He's going to get another nice shot into Photo Finish. Actually, it's Fox TS to close out that kill. Both of the playmakers really for EL Gaming here starting to step up. Fox TS and Guanren making the moves that they need to. And now things are looking just a little bit better here for the APAC team.
And Germ pokes him. He actually bounces a shot. Another shot. The tier 9 bat. I'm used to the tier 10 bat getting some odd ricochets, but the tier 9 bat? What is this madness?
Now, Fox TS going to come off the reload here, though, shortly, and that should be short work of Germ, who does go down in the end. And it's just Akula on his own, 1 versus 3. So it does look like EL Gaming should be able to pull this one through back to the 1-1, which we thought was going to be pretty important for them. There you go. They've managed to do just that.
Yep, but now we're going to be going into Himmelsdorf, which is a map where I think if one map's going to separate these teams, I think this is the one that Apex can really do it on.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, though, so far, strategy paying off for both these teams, or at least for EL Gaming, you know, just trying to grind this out, keep it close, leave themselves in a position to possibly walk away with this, knowing that it's not going to be like one of their normal matches where they just are completely dominant on all of these maps. So far, paying off well.
Yeah, well, one apiece is pretty much where we expected to be sitting. We expected this to be a pretty close matchup, but both teams taking a quite convincing victory, I think, on their respective sides. I think Apex was probably a little bit more convincing on the defense there. EL Gaming, it looked shaky for a couple of moments, but they got the job done in the end. And now, I guess, turning our eyes on towards Himmelsdorf, the real question does come out, is Apex going to be able to crack the nut? Yep.
So with EL Gaming, typically on Himmelsdorf, especially, well, we'll get back to that second. We'll get back to the question in a second, just because we want to look at this real quick. Fox TS in that TVP, look at how much damage he put out.
Yeah.
4K in a TVP.
Like I said, I mean, he's always that one that tends to be up there for EL Gaming. He's leading from the front, especially when he's in a tank destroyer, the Grill 15, the TVP. He always has a very good game.
Yep. Something to look at, too. Also in 4th place, Germ, the caller, one of the players that typically doesn't put up. He's normally last on the team in damage done, being second on the team there. Next to Akula, so Akula doing good there. But if you look at it, especially these 113s struggled to get off a lot of damage. Photo, 1,600, but Nits, once again, down at 1,300. And then Dodoma, only getting 1 shot of damage, got caught out by those TVPs. So often what happens is they'll get tracked once, they'll burn a repair kit, and the problem is those TVPs with the 1.5 second reload between shells, they get off that second one before they can repair the track and back up and get safe, and they get perma-tracked out in those awkward situations. And when you have 3 TVPs looking at one person, you know, all it takes is one little mistake, and Dodoma just got completely wrecked.
Yeah, so what was the question about Himmelsdorf?
Oh, so as far as Wargaming goes on offense, are they a team that tends to ball up and just go over the hill, 0 line, and just try to really grind out that cap and force their team back in, or do they kind of spread out more like we've seen out of some other teams today?
Generally speaking, well, it depends on who they're versing, I think. When they're up against a team which they consider weaker than them, they'll just charge down the banana or charge up the hill and make their way over towards the flag and try and cap that. When they're playing a team that they, you know, give a bit more respect, they do play a little bit slower, they spread out a little bit more, try and, I guess, play the more passive, smarter game. So we'll see what happens here. I expect we're probably going to be seeing maybe a little bit slower coming out from EL, but potentially this is going to give us a bit of an indication as to what we're going to see. 50Bs coming across from EL Gaming, unsurprising. 113's also unsurprising. And the 1390, this is pretty much the only map that I think EL Gaming do play the 1390 on.
Yep, that EL Gaming lineup very reminiscent of the 754 days when teams would bring 35100s and 3 IS3s and a 1390, or in that case the 12 AMX 12T, but looking at this, Apex, the same lineup they ran earlier, 250Bs, an IS-7, a 113, a grill, a Batchat, and an IS-3. Using the IS-3 over towards the 2-cap, the grill sitting back passive where he can cover, 50Bs and the 113. Batchat flexing around on the 1-2 line. I would expect to see the same thing here out of Apex.
Looks like EL Gaming going to be starting off on the attack here. So the real question for me is, do they go aggressive to start things off? And by the looks of things, given that they're splitting up here, we're probably not going to be seeing some sort of a committed push straight off the bat.
Yep, looking at it, Apex just pushing straight down that 1 line, Canadian Impact out in front, trying to get the eyes. They actually have a couple tanks sitting back at the church, just trying to see if they catch out anyone too early. I don't expect to see Canadian Impact push. There's actually Fox TS trying to get some shots on that cross. He's already fired 2 of 4.
Well, he knows he's not going to have too much trouble up in that position, and probably doesn't expect Apex to be doing anything too aggressive, so quite content to fire off his shots, maybe in the hope of getting some damage across, but it's actually going to be black to start things off. A very small amount of damage going over to external, but at least, you know, telling him that he's there.
Yep, definitely. And the other thing that we keep seeing throughout the day is we have the direct feeds from the players' computers, so we can see exactly what they're seeing, their POV. It's seeing the different graphic settings the different players run is always entertaining. I believe it's Still Mojo from the EU region that calls it the Pokemon resolution occasionally, where it's just extremely narrow, and I don't know how people play on that. To Killzor swears it's easy, but I don't know that I can make that adjustment. Yeah, no. It just comes down to what you're used to, and if you're used to playing on a smaller monitor, then that's how you play. Yep, and Nit's actually taking a shot for 400 in that 50B. Not quite sure where that came from. Had to have been flag over there, but that would have been some shot. Well, let's see what's going to happen here from EL Gaming. They need to start making their moves, and 113 starting to push forward. Not under too much pressure here just yet. Another spot coming out here for Nitz as well, so he's doing a good job. Does get spotted though, so they know it's to be still over on the 2 line right now. And EL Gaming just trying to control the courtyard, but they haven't really masked up to where they could really make any sort of decisive play. Just trying to maybe box out Apex, try to open up the 8 line so they can start flexing tanks up there. The problem is if they need to move quiet out sooner rather than later. I'm not a big fan of leaving a tank by himself over there on that 3 line. Unless it's like a tier 10 Batchat that has the speed to get away. Something like this, quiet right now, is actually in a 50B. Oh, so here we go. Sunmi starting to push forward there with a bit of backup as well from Fox TS on the hill. They've done a lot of damage actually over to external. Yeah, but they've in turn punished that 50B up on the hill from EL Gaming. Fox TS very low on HP, 548. Not a one-shot just yet, but almost there. Still, I think that's probably a slightly favorable trade for EL Gaming here. Let's see what Nice can get done. Oh, he's caught one off guard. The IS-3 with the back turned, and that's going to be mincemeat for the AMX 50B. That should be a clean kill for EL Gaming, and they start things off nicely. Now, are they going to be able to capitalize upon it and get the first win here on Himmelsdorf? Does look like it's going to be a difficult time, though, because look at Apex at the moment starting to push through this southern part of the map, and they could cause trouble for EL Gaming. Yep, well, like I said, the Quiet needs to be careful not be in there. It looks like he's gotten out just in time starting to drive away. However, he stopped. I don't think he's realized exactly where these tanks are for Apex yet.
He has the backup of Guan Ren as well, so if those guys try to come through the southern end of the map, Guan Ren's going to spot them out and they'll be able to do damage in that sort of a situation. At the moment, though, it's really a split focus here for Apex. They've got a couple of tanks up on the 2 flag to deal with. They've got a few tanks down towards the south to deal with. The question remains now, is EL Gaming going to be able to execute this? They've put themselves in a good position, but Sunmi goes down to the IS-7, and that opens up some doors here for Apex.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking for some shots here. Black does find the connection onto Akula, taking 600, but looking up the cap, they finally find the reset up north, but it cost them nits in that 50B.
Yeah, a couple of kills go the way of EL Gaming. They still have that player advantage. There was initially a trade back from Apex, but now EL Gaming again starting to pull ahead, and well, having a look here, see whether or not Fox TS can get some damage across. Does decide to go for the reload here. Nice as well, under a bit of pressure, but Dodoma, there's nothing he can do. Oh, looks like the reload is going to come across and finally should get that kill. Does get the job done.
Yep, and meanwhile, Akula does finish off Guan Ren. Photo finish should go down to flag here, and they should be able to finish off Akula because he is out right now.
Yeah.
Canadian Impact just needs to save his tank and drive away right now. This is not an engagement he should be trying to fight. However, Dodoma is being run around in circles by the 50B in the north.
If Fox TS is really under pressure here, he needs some backup from one of his teammates, and it doesn't look like he's going to be getting that at the moment. Canadian Impact trying to get some damage across to 113. I think that might have been a HE shell going into the back. And not enough damage to take the kill there, but it does look like
and another one that doesn't pen, it might cost Quiet his life. Oh, and it does.
And you can see in the meanwhile, Fox TS has actually gone down to the Grill 15 as well, so it's going to come down to a 1 versus 1. The bounce from the bat chat, that's so crucial here for Flag to keep as much HP alive as he can, and he's actually not going to be a one-shot for Dodoma. So in this sort of a situation, it does come down to Flag, can he get a couple of shots off in the time that it takes Dodoma to reload?
Yep, well, he's already been firing some HE shells, so now you got to ask the question, how many HE shells was he carrying? Because HE would be the option for the grill. I'm not a huge fan of firing HE at a bat chat. Too many weird angles and whatnot, unless you can hit that engine deck flat on. It's not necessarily going to be a consistent pen. And that showed, and it basically cost Quiet his life. Quiet could be alive right now, but the decision to fire HE only doing, 100-something damage, it left Canadian Impact alive, even with the RAM. And now he may not have HE shells left for Dodoma, which 2 HE shells, if they pen, he's done. Right now, if 2 regular shells roll average at 440 apiece, Dodoma's still alive with 6 HP, so he's going to either need RNG on his side, get some high rolls, or this could be extremely tough.
Such a difficult question to ask here, but it comes down to who does what. Dodoma at the moment looks like he's going to be just trying to run away a little bit, hide, which I think is probably the correct decision. Flag obviously going to have to put himself on a cap.
The biggest thing here is if he crosses this corner, if Dodoma can set up, he might be able to get a free shot into Flag when he crosses here.
Yeah.
And
no, he's not set up. It doesn't look like. I think he's gone down towards the to the A line. So no problem there for Flag, but at the moment Flag not too keen to jump on towards that 2 cap. Maybe he goes over towards the 1 flag here and wastes a bit of Dodoma's time. I don't know, we'll see what happens.
Remember, it is EL Gaming that are attacking right now, so 3 minutes left for him to find something out.
Yeah, it's not a lot of time when you really think about it. In 1v1, it can be difficult to find your opponent.
Yeah, no, I think he knows he's towards the hill. Now, there's one blind spot that Dodoma has right now, and that's if he comes straight up the 8 line. He went around this way, so he didn't trip the cat. There's no way to get past that 2 cap the way he came from without triggering it. So he's going to poke this corner, sees if you see him. He's going to pull forward. Is he going to be looking for him? Dodoma could be caught out here.
Yeah, it could be potentially, but I think Dodoma's watching the angle. No, he's not. This is going to be a good shot coming out. 1 free shot there for Flag. Now he's going to take a shot in return, but is the return shot going to be able to come out from Flag just in time? Doesn't look like he's got the reload.
And here's the problem is Dodoma is left with 490 HP.
Yeah.
Which means that he would need an insane high roll or an HE pen to kill him right now.
This is not a good situation now for Flag. Looks like he's going to go for the reload there, so probably loading HE by the looks of things.
If he has one left, that's his only option.
He's going to get on the cap.
Because Dodoma, it would be an insane low roll on the opposite end for that to be enough to kill him.
Flag looks like he actually wants to take the fight here.
And he doesn't spot Dodoma on the cross, and I don't know that he would have enough view range to spot Dodoma if he backs up here and hugs the red line.
We're going to find out. 1:30 left on that base capture, so Heaps of time for Dodoma to work with here. Not so much for Flag. He's really in a spot of bother here. He just has to rely, I guess, on that high roll, on a little bit of luck. And that's really what it comes down to at the moment. He's not even watching the right angle, so needs to turn his tank around. Dodoma could potentially close this one out if he gets the right angle.
Now, the question is here, is Flag far enough back to spot that Bravo line as Dodoma approaches? Because with this 50B corpse in the way, he may not spot him until he's on top of him, at which point it's over. So he needs to spot him before he can close, and just look at how tight that angle is. I don't know if the turret's far enough back to spot him.
Dodoma looks like he's just going to let that timer run down a little bit.
Well, there's no reason to give him the time to hunt him down. He's going to wait till there's probably about 10 seconds left, or just below Flag's reload, and just take the risk, push in, fire the shot, and hope he doesn't ram him.
Yeah,
it's
I
still
don't
a
think
little
he
bit
spots
risky.
him. If he gets down that angle, I don't think he gets spotted until probably the proxy spot comes out.
The thing is this could,
Oh,
he spots him. He doesn't know. And he gets the HE pen, and this game's over. All Dodoma has to do is stay alive. There is no longer a way for him to cap.
Flag needs to make a move. He's going to go forward, but he needs to get 2
And Dodoma knows
shots
exactly
off.
where he is, because the second he gets off cap, he knows he's not here on this end. But he actually stays on cap. I don't know.
Well,
He doesn't have time to do it. He doesn't have time to hunt him down. He's just hoping he peeks around. Dodoma's going to back out smartly, and that's going to be a round win for Apex, pulling that one out of the fire, as you were, because that was not looking good for Apex for the longest time.
yeah, some small mistakes there for EL Gaming has really cost them. I mean, the HE shells that you were talking about onto the bat chat, and then I guess the staying on the cap, which, to be fair, that would have probably still gone the way of Apex, but there was always potential maybe for EL Gaming to pull something off there, but definitely nice stuff from Dodoma in that grill.
Yeah, no, extremely lucky, but just the positioning there, just a little bit unlucky that the back of that 113 was
Peeking out.
Yeah, peeking out, and he got spotted. The thing is he got spotted, and he didn't even know he was like, 'cause there's a 3-second delay, and he didn't spot Dodoma, so Dodoma had enough time to line up that shot and fire before that 113 knew exactly where he was. So great stuff there out of Dodoma, you know, coming up clutch there for his team. Now is the round that I think is going to be the most important round of this whole series in a way, is can Apex close out this next round on Himmelsdorf?
Exactly, that's the real question. And having a look back at the damage stats, Dodoma, well, we see him up the top there. He was doing so much work for his team.
4,500 damage. That's the third game tonight so far in Himmelsdorf, or today for that matter, where Dodoma has just come up huge in that grill 15. Canadian Impact also doing 3,400 damage. Nits and Akula both doing about 1,500 and 1,200. Not really able to be that effective. Nits really struggled there later in the round. But overall, Apex, you know, I said earlier that they fight very well from being in down positions. However, the problem was I really think this was more EL Gaming's loss than Apex really pulling that one out. Just a couple things that went wrong there for him. The decision for the HE shells. You can understand the gamble he's taking. He wants to do more, as much damage as he can, takes him down quicker. But the problem is, in that sort of situation, especially with the RAM, firing a regular shell and just making sure that it pens, even though it's less damage than the HE possibly could have done, as long as you combine that with the RAM, that's going to keep that 50B alive. And so the decision to fire that HE shell into that bat chat, not getting the pen, not getting 2 pens for that matter, allowed that bat chat to finish off that 50B before they could really do anything.
Yeah, I mean, again, in those sort of clutch situations, it has to come down to the question of, has EL Gaming really had the experience in doing that? Because throughout our entire season, they've never even been in a clutch situation by the looks of things. I mean, they've always just been able to roll over their opponents, so they're not so practiced in the clutch situations, and maybe just choking a little bit there. But heading into the second half now on Himmelsdorf, it's going to be, again, a very Amex 50B heavy lineup for EL Gaming. And a couple coming in for Apex, but again, that grill 15, so expecting Dodoma to show us something else.
Yep, now, once again, same lineup out of Apex, 50Bs, I7, 113, the grill, Batchat, 1390. Looking at lineup out of EL Gaming, I talked about earlier on Ruinberg how that autoloader lineup kind of already gives you a strong hint at what they're going to do. If I had to speculate right now, bringing this many 50Bs, I expect to see a very strong one-line push out of EL Gaming, looking for an early engagement, and just try to start the brawl early on in a situation that favors them. However, looking at the split, the 50Bs are actually going to go up north. Well, 2 of them are going to go up north with the 113 and the grill, and the rest of them are going to head over down in the south, and Black's just going to go straight across the courtyard and head over towards that G8 corner. And it looks like EL Gaming are just going to try to box them into this courtyard
Black's almost in a difficult position there, but he does get through safely without taking a shot, and we need to see some damage coming across on this cross. This is exactly what EL set up for. Nice and quiet, really not getting the damage that they need to there. And now Fox TS Flag and Sunmi need to pull back. There's so much information here for EL Gaming, but Apex getting all the positioning that they could ever want. Nice has taken quite a bit of damage already as well.
I love the recognition there out of L Gaming, realizing that even though they weren't spotted, that they would be leaving themselves in a terrible overmatch. And now Germ's going to come over. They find Guan Ren.
Yeah, but well, I think in this situation it's Guan Ren finding them because he's in the tier 10 bat chat. The 1390, an easy cleanup. Germ goes down, but that's not such an advantage here for EL Gaming, considering Apex have managed to get themselves into a really nice spot.
But now the thing is he only has 2 shots left, and Dodoma's up there, so it should be Dodoma that's able to clean him up.
Yeah, if he can get out of here alive, maybe he can run down the hill, something like that. But absolutely, you're right. He needs to get out of there. And for now, Dodoma is not allowing that to happen. Over on towards the 2 flag. The cap has been started by Apex, and Dodoma bouncing a shot off the RU-251. So Dodoma here has to play a little bit more careful now that Black is up there. But that, I guess, gives away a little bit more information here for Apex. They have a player advantage over towards the 2 flag.
Yeah, but at this point, Dodoma just needs to ignore the RU-251. He needs to make sure that shot goes into the bat chat and take a few shots from him. Because the second he fires at that RU-251, the bat chat will push around and clean him out before he can do anything about it.
Fox TS trying to get some shots across, but at the moment not having so much luck. And now he does take the look around the corner. Does take down a Cooler. Photo finish in the meanwhile has taken down Quiet. So a trade coming out. And the damage coming across from both teams is looking pretty good, but seems to be favoring Apex at this point.
Finally, Dodoma trying to find the bat chat still hasn't actually got him.
Yeah, Black's just still hanging around up there. Guan Ren has reloaded in the meanwhile, and I think Dodoma is probably going to go down here without causing too much trouble for Guan Ren. He just doesn't have the shot onto him. And Black needs a couple more shots. Does take one from the Grill 15, but this is going to be this. Oh, no, actually gets rammed.
Dodoma gets the ram. That's huge, but Guan Ren should be able to clean up Dodoma in the meantime. The thing is that they just need to keep him out of the fight so the rest of the tanks for Apex can clean up what's left of L Gaming down here on the 2 cap.
Yeah, this is still, again, a very difficult situation now for EL Gaming. Flag going to be on the reload. Guan Ren having a bit of trouble as well. He's very low on HP. He can get one shot in towards the Canadian Impact here, but he's also not in a healthy situation himself. So, like I said, EL Gaming probably going to be dropping this one 2-0 on Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, this is what Apex need to do, because if the other maps go 1-1, this is what tips it in their favor and will see them through to the semifinals.
Yeah.
Nit's poking around, does find a shot onto Flag, but Flag finds Canadian Impact.
Yeah, so 2 versus 3 here, still maybe potential. Actually, never mind.
Capped out by Apex.
Didn't even see that, but very easy win in the end for Apex. 2-0 there on Himmelsdorf. That puts them at 3-1.
Yeah, but now the next map was Mrovanka, if I recall?
Yep.
So that should be rather interesting. You'd have to imagine it goes 1-1.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with L Gaming on attack. I've seen enough out of Apex that if there was a team that I feel could win on attack on Muro, I think it would be them.
Okay.
They're just, like I talked about earlier, they're just very coordinated on it. They understand how to clear the bushes, work together, look at everything. It's something that they've practiced. So that could potentially see this as a
5-1.
5-1 score line.
Yeah.
However, that's still a huge task. It's not the end of the world if they can't, but I'd still put it at like a 60-65% chance that they pull that off. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know whether or not they attack or defend first, though.
I'm pretty worried about EL Gaming here on Mrovanka. I mean, it's not a map that I've ever really considered as one of their stronger maps, so I'm very surprised to see them picking it against Kazna, and considering the result against Kazna, very surprised to see them again picking it up against Apex here. But there you go, Dodoma once again doing the work with the Grill 15.
Yep, there's a top tanker event going on in North America. It keeps track of all the stats from all the different tanks, and right now Dodoma is actually sitting in first on the Grill 15 on the whole North American server.
No surprises.
So, not too big a surprise to see him putting up those numbers at Himmelsdorf right now. Nit's actually coming in there with 3,100 damage. And then, just looking down here, once again, Germ not able to really get into the fight quite in the 50B. Fired 3 shots, only had 1 connection.
Yeah.
And then Black, though, in that RE251, well, he got off 1,300 onto Dodoma. Once again, you know, it came down to that situation. Dodoma knew that he had to ignore that RU-251, but managed to put a shot into him and then go for the ram before he went down. Extremely lucky there. But
the
once
ram,
again,
I think, is the unsung hero there, because maybe an extra RU-251 on the field there for EL Gaming could have tipped the scales. It was still probably in the favor of Apex, but who knows?
And it would have freed them up a bit sooner. That Batchat could have gone down there and helped out the other tanks before they got pushed on. But just the combination of it, you know, and just a great play by Dodoma to recognize, hey, I can just ram him. I have the bigger tank, and worked out for him. Knew he was going to go down. Knew he wasn't going to reload. Just did what he could, and just great game sense by Dodoma.
All right. Well, EL Gaming now backs against the wall, moving on to Muravanka. It's their pick, but I'm not so confident about it, to be honest. Like I said, it's not a map that they play very much. It's a map that they actually have had reasonable success on, statistically speaking, but yeah, just I'm not so sure. We'll see how this goes up against Apex, though.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, like I said, this is a map that it is pretty defensively sided. It's extremely hard to attack well on. I've seen some two-line attacks that can be decent, but once again, at that point, it totally depends on how the defense lines up. So often, we used to see a lot of teams be able to play that four-line the inside, and then they could get around, and they might be able to break a very hard turtle out of a lot of teams. But then teams realized that they could play the red line and in the south while they're defending and be pretty much unspottable unless there's a tank down there on top of them. And so that shut down the four-line plays that we saw a lot. That forced them into the cap. And then once teams tried to go for the heavy cap strats, then we saw teams like Eclipse start bringing out the little Crusader SP. I don't know if you saw that in Apex.
Yeah.
But they'd bring out the little Tier 7 Crusader SP.
Yeah, I think we saw it once.
And then they would just lob the shells in there to get the HE resets. It's not going to do a whole lot of damage. Death by paper cuts to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But if it gets the resets and it works, you know, it's all they need.
Oh, well, here we go. EL Gaming, 4 bat chats. Apex, 5 bat chats.
Yep, and a 1390 out of both teams. A Grill 15 and a 140 out of EL Gaming. Well, Apex favoring the IS-4.
We'll have a look and see how this Grill 15 goes. I assume it's probably going to be Fox TS playing that one. EL Gaming probably on the defense, I assume, with the Grill in their lineup. Nope, actually on the attack.
Yep, it's going to be EL Gaming attacking, Apex on the defense. Expect to see that IS-4 head over towards that one cap. And we'll have to see what sort of setup Apex goes for. It looks like it's going to be Germ just chilling out in one of the more passive bushes, not one of the ones close enough to spot cap consistently. But what the position he's going to do, and it doesn't spot the whole cap, but it spots everything but one position, and that allows his team to just focus on one corner of cap to get those blind resets.
Whoa,
now,
have a look at this though from Apex. Going quite aggressive. Black spotting them out, and he's just decided to get out of there, which is fair enough, considering it does allow EL Gaming to put a shot into one of those Apex players. It was Nits.
Yep, now, as I was saying, what it does is it allows Apex to just focus on one corner of the cap to get those blind shots on and reset. However, the thing I'm not a big fan of with this lineup is it's all bat chats, so it's going to be a lot of bat chats trying to blind fire and then have to go, you know, drop their clip or reload depending on how many shots they fire. And if EL Gaming are doing enough to count and Apex are sloppy enough to fire more than one bat at a time, it may leave a window of opportunity for EL Gaming to either close or start a push once they know that one of the bat chats has been firing a lot.
Yeah, interesting that EL Gaming does decide to go towards the 2 flag though. I mean, typically speaking, we do see the 1 flag push, at least out of APAC teams. But they have opted to go for the 1 flag, for the 2 flag, and you know, they tried to get the 1390 on there, but the spot came out. So EL Gaming has to fall back a little bit here and rethink how they're going to go about this one.
Yep, absolutely. And Nice starting to move down towards that 2 cap. Not spotted yet. Once again, already talked about that. Germ doesn't actually have a line of sight to that far into cap. So it'll be interesting to see if Nice gets spotted as he moves on to cap here, or if they're able to figure out which bush Germ is sitting in when he does light Nice.
EL Gaming, I think here just hoping to get some spots across so that Fox TS is going to be able to put some damage across, but as of yet, they haven't really managed to do that. There was plenty of spots up towards the 1 flag, but no one in position to actually get shots in that direction.
Black just being extremely passive at A7, not really supported by the rest of his team, but he'll have intel if Apex make any sort of play through the north. Right now, you can see Canadian Impact pinging the map, just talking with the rest of his team, just talking about what they need to be prepared for, what they need to be looking for, making sure they're all on the same page.
1390 again starting to make its way forward here for EL Gaming. Does get onto the flag, I think unspotted here at the moment by Apex. Yeah, it is. Nice. Has to be careful though at this position. Easy shots into him if anyone starts to spam in his direction. No cover at all. And he's kind of right out in the open as well. So if anyone gets in range to spot him out, it's going to be no problems at all. Flag starting to move forward as well. It's quiet though.
And just Apex just holding real firm. There's only one tank on cap right now. So they're not panicking yet. Now the biggest thing they worry about is multiple tanks stacking on cap once it's down above 50% and really speeding up that reload timer. So they need to make sure that they're in position and understand what they need to do to get that reset. I'd hate to have to see Germ just YOLO out there to make sure he gets the light, but which would ultimately cost him his life.
Again, a bit of movement coming out from Apex. They're just trying to rotate backwards and forwards across the map. What are they going to do with these bat chats? It looks like they want to make a move in towards the town and force the pressure onto EL Gaming. So now we might see some fireworks starting to come out here. 48 seconds left on that cap, but Apex definitely starting to make their move forward. Sunmi potentially going to be the first one to spot them out. Guan Ren in a position that might be able to get some shots across as well. And there we go, Nits and Dodoma getting spot out. Akula not yet.
Yep, so what's happening is they're pushing very aggressive. They're drawing some of the guns towards these bat chats. And actually the shot, I don't know if it was a shot that hit Nice in that 1390 or if he got off cap himself, but
he's off cap. Well, regardless, he
reset. The cap is reset either way, which, as you can see now Apex know. All right, well we don't need to do this anymore.
Oh no, Fox TS. I think he unflipped himself. Did you see that? He almost flipped.
Almost.
I think he's okay though. Not sure.
That would have been huge. Yeah, he's fine.
Oh, that would have been such a big loss for EL Gaming if he had flipped his tank there, but in the end, he's okay. Quiet has been spotted out, takes a shot, but not too much else to write home about here for Apex just now, although they have again pushed forward a little bit, got a little bit more map control. EL Gaming starting to get choked out.
So Nice has taken no damage, so unless it was a track shot, I'm pretty sure he just got off cap himself.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure that was the case.
Pounds off the front of that bat chat. As we've called it this season, the bounce chat.
Yeah. Happens more than you would think it should.
Way more than it should. Meanwhile, Apex just chilling out. And the position Apex is in right now is kind of an odd one. They're just in the village in the south here, just staying behind the buildings in a position to move forward. And if you look at the cap right now, it's down to about 70 seconds. 30 seconds left, 70% on the cap. And Germ is still in the position where if he needs to push forward to get the lights, he can, and that's exactly what he's going to do right now. He's actually going to move up to the bush. He's not spotted. He lights Nice, and the shots are going to come in. They may be able to pick him off. Meanwhile, External taking a lot of damage, and trade for trade there between the bat jets.
Yeah, but overall, EL Gaming have taken the worst of it. Nice is down very low on HP, 84, so he's not going to be having much luck trying to get onto that cap anymore with the HP that he has. And what I really need to see here from EL Gaming is Fox TS needs to get involved in this fight with that Grill 15. He's just not been able to do all that much. Black as well, up in the northern part of the map, he's been completely irrelevant.
Yep, absolutely. And looking at it, Nice is moving back to get on cap, but the problem is even blind fire will kill him now at this point.
Yeah, he's so low on HP now. And we'll see whether or not this is going to work out nicely for EL Gaming. Because, yeah, one small mistake from that 1390 and he's gone.
Well, it doesn't even necessarily be an enemy, it would need to be a mistake. Just putting on some cap pressure and Photo Finish gets lucky with the blind fire and it could have him dead. Or even an HE shell if it lands in the vicinity. 84 HP, it's enough for splash damage to kill to a certain extent.
Flag pushing forward though here and spotting out Germ. So it means that Germ can't really go for an aggressive peek onto Nice here. I mean, he can. It's probably going to be a worthwhile trade because he'll take a 1-for-1 shot and, well, that'll work out in his favor.
You have to think that this situation with his bat chat here actually favors Apex just because that 1390 essentially keeps this bat chat out of the fight.
Yeah.
And the other guns are sitting here trying to make sure they support him, but if they can engage the rest of the guns, that's a tier 10 bat chat that's going to have to deal with a tier 8 and not really be in the rest of the fight.
Yeah, Sunmi does take a shot in the meanwhile there, but it looks like Black might be getting pressured up towards the north as well here from Apex just a little bit, but that timer still ticking away here for EL Gaming and Canadian Impact getting a lot of damage across to Black. who's now just decided to back out of that one a little bit. Flag taking the aggressive stance though onto Germ does. Put a couple of shots into him, takes a couple in response as well though.
Apex are up comfortably, 1200 HP right now. However, cap timer down to 60 seconds, and now they're going to go ahead and stack a second tank onto Cap.
Yeah, Fox
and he's
TS.
spotted already though.
This is a very interesting decision here from EL Gaming, and well, Fox TS is going to be punished a little bit for it. He takes another shot. Is he going to go down? That's the real question. Shot by shot, he's getting ever so
I think the Doma's out now, though. I don't think he can finish him off. So it's going to be up to photo finish or one of these bat chats from Apex pushing in.
Well, they know how much damage they've done to Fox TS. He's a one-shot, and I don't think he's going to be able to get a shot across before he dies as well. 1390 maybe trying to block a shot, but none of these shots going into any of those Apex players, and there should be 2 free kills there going in the way of Nits. At least one trade back comes out for Quiet, but overall, great play from Apex, choosing the right timing. Akula does take down Quiet as well, and now EL Gaming just in a terrible position.
Yep, and Nits actually picks up Flag too, so 3 kills going in the way of Apex. Now looking at it, you know, we had that conversation earlier, or at least I did with Killzor about rations versus first aid kits. There are 3 dead drivers currently on the team of Apex.
Oh, well, not that it matters. They're going to win anyway.
They pick it up, and that is going to be a defensive win on Muravanka. So not something too surprising there.
Yep.
Great management of the clock by Apex. I really liked how they played that. The push through the village in the north kind of sketched me out a little bit. I wasn't too sure of it, but great decision making there. They got the spots on Cap once they had the resets. They realized, all right, let's not take this engagement. Let's back out, regroup, and just burn the clock down more, and made sure that to fill as much time as they could. Because they very easily could have just kept driving forward and just gone for the engagement, but you know, they backed off. And that's the difference between these two teams. I think if EL Gaming are in that same situation, they continue that push. I think they just go for it at that point. I don't think they would really, you know, take the time to back off and, you know, have that composure to just burn down the clock. And just overall good stuff there out of Apex. And Dodoma, 4,300. You know, that's something we haven't seen this season a whole lot because of how well the teams played. But right now, showing up, Dodoma is just putting up number after number. So far, if there's an MVP of this tournament for Apex, you got to give it to him.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Dodoma has been doing so much work for this lineup, and I really haven't seen anyone on EL Gaming that's been able to stand up to it. Look at that, nice Guanren, Fox TS, 0 damage apiece. 10 shots from the Grill 15, and he didn't get a single shot.
Yeah, I'd love to know the blocked damage off of that IS-4, because I'm going to assume a lot of those were towards his turret while he was sitting there on that hill, where it was blind fire towards some of the bushes, maybe. But either or, I'd love to know if Photo Finish ended up getting shot at all.
Potentially, but I guess it's not all that much importance now that Apex have picked up the win anyway. They don't care how it's going to come across. And they're only 1 win away now from securing their place in the semis.
Yep. Now, like I said earlier, they have to attack on Moreau. I don't think this is a offensive-sided map, or attacking-sided map for that matter. But I do think that Apex have a pretty good shot at pulling one out here. At least I feel more comfortable about them taking one than I would EL Gaming. So.
Yeah, for sure. I don't ever feel comfortable about EL Gaming on Muravanka, especially on the attacking side. So yeah, I am a little bit worried to say the least here for EL Gaming. Muravanka is not a map that they've enjoyed throughout our season, and so far today they're 0 for 3 on it. I'll have a look here and see how they're going to go. It's their last chance. They need to pick up the win here, and they've decided to go for Bat Chats, IS-4, TVP, STB, nothing too crazy. Apex, on the other hand, going very Bat Chat heavy.
Yeah, 4 regular Bat Chats, 2 tier 9s, and then just the 1 T110 E5, most likely Photo Finish playing that heavy tank again. So not necessarily too surprising out of Apex. However, that is going to be interesting seeing as they're attacking. It doesn't really allow them to take the 2 cap head on down that 1-2 line. But maybe, or the 1 cap, excuse me, but it kind of means they have to play towards that 2 cap, I feel, just based upon the lineup and what that'll allow them to do.
All right, let's have a look and see. Apex on the attack. Going to be fanning out across the map. A couple in towards the forest, a couple over towards what is the hill over near the 1 flag. Germ takes a shot early on in the piece, but won't be too worried by that at all.
Photo Finish just moving up that 4 line in the E5 there. I'd expect to see him get towards G4 here eventually, or at least with Germ on the cap at F3. Now, if you look at the positioning down there on the very bottom red line, they have sitting another bat chat, and so he's going to make it hard for that 4 line to be worked. But if we can see Apex push around in the south here and make sure to clear that out, then they can think about moving that E5 up around the 4 line. Then once they have that there, then they can maybe put some cap pressure on with the rest of the guns just covering that sole E5 as they cap out. However, Germ does get spotted making the scout run, and he's actually going to creep forward towards cap even while he's spotted. No doubt about it. Trips the cap and then decides to back off.
A little interesting, but obviously not going to cost him all that much. So fair enough.
Wonder if he's just trying to bait them into pushing over here, because he keeps just kind of taunting them almost at this point. Look, guys, I'm over here making the scout run. Now I'm on your cap. Now I'm driving away.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he's trying to do. I mean, Gaming are very prone to pushing in if they feel like they can get an advantage off it. But for now, they're just content to sit tight. The IS-4 does move up a little bit, but obviously I don't think the IS-4 itself is going to be pushing over on its own.
Photo finish, just still sitting here. He's moved up a couple buildings. He's still sitting there near this F line though. Guanren in that IS-4, right on that F2 corner, so he'll prox light anything on cap. But I just don't see any way in right now for Apex, setting up with what they have here. They're going to need to move that E5 towards cap, you'd have to think, get him on cap and use the bat shots to screen. But against that IS-4, I just don't know how much damage the rest of the team can reliably do, even if it's the IS-4 that pushes it around to get the reset on to photo finish.
Yeah, it's we'll see whether or not it's going to work out for Gaming here. Dodoma has been spotted out towards the southern end of the map, but himself not being able to spot anyone out, so needs to be careful. The situation that he's in is quite dangerous if he pushes forward, but for now not deciding to do that. The T125 though for Apex, as you said, playing around that cap. Still not yet on it though.
It's starting to work over towards the south here. All 7 guns alive still for Apex. Dodoma is actually all the way down in the south, I believe, at this point.
Germ looks like he's starting to make a move here. He's pushed forward and does get spotted out, but turning around quickly enough that he's not going to be shot for his trouble. So thought he might be going for something a little bit more aggressive than that, but just the spotting run. And still waiting for Apex really to make their move here. They've spread out across the map, but haven't made a committed movement into either of these flags.
Yep, so Germ just backing up along this ridge, trying to see if he gets spotted to know exactly how far Dodoma can push up safely. They haven't quite figured out where Nice is in that 1390. He's just sitting passive over towards K2.
Bad Chat starting to make the move as well down towards the 2 flag.
Or K4, excuse me. Passive down over there, K4 in the bottom corner.
Dodoma's still hanging around here. Apex slowly but surely getting the map control and starting to choke Gaming into, well, what is the southwest part of the map. It's 4 minutes and a half gone by now. And Apex, starting to take a little bit of damage there. Dodoma hanging around a little bit too long after being spotted. He's going to be punished for it. The Bat Chat, I think, probably get a couple more shots into him. Not quite by the looks of things.
Still, at this point, Apex not with a whole lot of options. Like I talked about earlier, this lineup, I just don't feel favors this 1 cap at all. Even then, it's not a great lineup to attack the 2 cap with, but trying to play this 1 cap like this, they haven't even attempted any cap pressure outside of that brief moment that Germ crossed the cap to set it off.
Yeah, Gaming with a pretty reasonable advantage now, given the HP that they've been able to deal over. It's about 2K in their favor, and a lot of time has been ticking by here for Apex, and they haven't really achieved a whole lot. So pretty much half their time, even a little more than that, I think, and they haven't really managed to do all that much. Like I said, now starting to get a little bit on towards that cap, but again, dancing off it. They're back on it, so we'll see. This is probably around the time when you'd expect to see Gaming just charging a few of those back chats or TVPs, what have you, over the hill straight in towards that 1 flag.
And he should be able to find a shot onto the cupola. He actually bounces his first shot in that STB. The gun handling can be a little bit frustrating, but once again, Apex just not able to really get any good shots off towards L-Gaming. Just L-Gaming keeping it very, very tight, getting some good early damage, and the rest of the guns are actually flexing up here, so they may just dump onto this one cap here. Apex have read it pretty well. They're all in position to support Germ and Photo Finish.
Well,
cap at 10 seconds.
This is exactly what EL Gaming likes to do. They let it go down, and then the bat chats start to come in, and Black, Sunmi, I think Guan Ren probably the other one in the bat chat. No, actually he's in the IS-4. It's Flag coming in the rest in through the back. The focus fire, very good there for EL Gaming. They take down the bat chat 25T AP as opposed to the T110E5, and now turning their fire across to that heavy tank and having trouble getting it down, but eventually Black does pick up the kill, and well, this is very typical of EL Gaming, getting those 2 picks, and now the bat chats should have enough breathing room to reload.
Akula does pick up Fox TS in that TVP, however, Apex are still down roughly 2,000 HP. The bounce coming off the back of Flag there. Guns are still actually in favor of L Gaming, but only by 1.
Yeah, Flag.
And now that evens it up.
Yeah, Flag going down there. Nice though, does trade one back. It's 4 versus 4. Dodoma again finding another pick. He's been, like we said, so huge for Apex, and again seems to be stepping up for them once again in the Batchat 25T AP. Let's see what Flag can do here. Pushing forward in the IS-4. Easy kill for him onto Nitz. Does take a shot from the Batchat across the way, but in general, it does seem like EL Gaming have got a pretty good situation on their hands.
Absolutely. And it's Batchat gonna close. He should find Dodoma, who is reloading right now. Great shot on the move.
RNG God's with him. 2 versus 4 now, and you have to think really that EL Gaming should have a pretty easy time with this one now.
Yep, so they will pull it back 3-2, or yeah, 4-2, excuse me, pretty soon, and that'll move us on to our 4th map, which will be
Ghost Town.
Ghost Town,
I believe. 2 minutes left on the clock here. Apex don't have much to work with. A couple of bat chats, not much time. I mean, there's no point in not going for it, but you have to say the odds are very heavily stacked against them at this point.
Yep, a lot of HP left on the field for Gaming, you know, up almost double what Apex has left, and even if both of them make both of their clips count, that still leaves them, you know, over 1,000 HP short of what they need to be able to kill everything, so.
Black not taking a shot there from his opposing number in the bat chat.
Yep, their only chance is they need to push in, start an engagement somewhere, get 1 tank down, and then run away after 1 tank's down and both reload. However, Photo Finish is found by the bat chat. He goes down.
Meanwhile, has gone down, and there we go. Both the kills going the way of EL Gaming, so they're going to draw out the series 1 map longer at the very least. They hang on. We're now to 4-2. So, EL Gaming, what have they got to show us on Ghost Town? That's really what we have to ask, because short of a 2-0, they're not going to be going through to the semis.
Yep, they have to win both rounds here, including a hack on Ghost Town, which is not easy to do. Now, it's not the most one-sided map, but it's still not an easy task. Now, just the same, like I talked about, Apex haven't actually played this map a whole lot. They've played it a handful of times, I think around 10. But the problem is that like a lot of them were just some very cheesy strats that they ran. Like I said, the fast cap versus M60s, they literally just drove all their tanks to cap and sat on it, and then it just, M60s were never in position to get the resets. And the game ended within the first, you know, minute and 20 seconds or something along those lines. So it'll be interesting to see what Apex have up their sleeve right now, because all they need is 1 win out of the next 2 to walk away with this. And if they don't, then it goes to overtime on mines, which once again we talked about, you know, should favor Apex, just because L Gaming doesn't have the greatest track record on it.
Yeah.
But even then, the fastest attacking victories so far, there's only been 1, which goes to Apex. So
yeah, well, having a look at the damage stats here, Sunmi this time the one stepping up. Actually, Dodoma not featuring in the top 7, interestingly enough, probably the first time in this series.
Yep, Kula doing 2,500, so stepping up to do his part. But the other thing I have to remember is Dodoma was down in that tier 9, so not able to really put up a lot of damage. And the last time he was down on the bottom page was when he got caught out in that 430 V2 on Ruinbrig.
Well, no surprises really in the battle stats here. Germ down there, 277 in the Batchat 25 TAP. Not really the amount of damage he'd have been wanting.
Yep, and photo finish, only able to do 865 over 12 shots, so provided a good portion of those were blind fire. Not really able to do a whole lot of damage when he was in the fight, especially when those bat chats pushed over. And I love the push there out of Wargaming. They pushed in, they all focused out the bat chat. They said, all right, try to shoot the E5 in this situation is not good. And then they left guns on both sides, and they backed up to that corner. They left photo finish in a situation where he could not angle his armor towards everyone. There was no way he was going to do it, and they had more than enough guns to quickly focus him out on either side, and so they were just able to knock him down, and it left them in a very, very good situation.
All right, well, having a look here at Ghost Town, at least on the side of Wargaming, it's probably a map that they're going to be quite comfortable on. Their most picked map throughout the season so far, but you know, not a map again that they've had the best of results on. I mean, they still have a pretty stellar record, 74% overall, but it's nothing compared to the 95 on Himmelsdorf. Although in saying that, they did just get 2-0'd on Himmelsdorf. So, yeah, still a little bit worrying here for Wargaming. I'm finding it very difficult to believe that they're going to be able to pull off a 2-0.
Yeah, but with the overall quality of the teams in APAC, you know, looking at it, Ghost Town being one of the maps that's only played in League, essentially. It played in the random team battles, but that's it, and that's still on one of the older formats. So some of these teams going to be a lot less practiced on it, and so if, you know, Wargaming putting in as much time as they have on all the maps, you know, you got to wonder how much time a majority of the teams are able to really put in on it. And so when they go up versus APAC, the other APAC teams are, you know, Wargaming, it kind of, I think it's a little bit skewed results in a way.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's why I said it's so hard to read into how well Wargaming is actually performing, considering the opponents that they're facing. You know, it can lead to a reasonably easier situation for them sometimes to pick up wins. So up against the stronger opponents now, the question becomes, are they going to be able to step up and really elevate their gameplay?
Yep, absolutely. And so we actually have a 1-minute timeout right now. Looks like Nitz, Akula, and Dodoma sitting here talking about strats. External on the far left, they're just listening in. So just making sure they're all on the same plan for Ghost Town. And then our admin, Rookhill, lurking around in the backfield there, monitoring the timeout.
Well, is Ghost Town a map that Apex particularly plays?
They played it a couple times. I think it came in around 10 rounds played for them on the season. We did actually see it out of them during the playoffs a couple of times, but it wasn't one of the maps where they really stuck out on and being amazing. It was one of those maps where we saw a lot of 1-1s. And then, like I said, there was a lot of times where they showed up with some really corny strats that worked just because the other teams just didn't respond well. Like I said, the one that sticks out constantly is just that fast cap versus M60s, because you were sitting there, they literally drove straight to cap and they sat on cap, and M60s was on the whole opposite corner of the map trying to catch out some sort of south rotate. Maybe they'd looked at some of the previous rounds from Apex, seeing them push around, and they just put 3 on cap right away. And so you're like, all right, well, they'll get a reset soon enough, you know, from one of these angles, and it just never came through, and you're just like, they're gonna get a reset eventually.
Nope.
Never happened, and it just capped out before. I think there was like 300 damage done the whole game, and you're just like, well, that just happened.
We've seen some very similar situations in APAC where caps have just come across and no one's gotten towards the cap to get the reset in time. So I don't think that's going to be the case here on Ghost Town. One worry that I have maybe for Wargaming is at times they do tend to make some silly plays on Ghost Town. In particular, I remember one time where Guan Ren just drove into the entire enemy team. Like, it kind of seemed like he was on a scouting mission, but he was in a bat chat, and, you know, he just drove into a 5-stack.
Was it like a possible disconnect? Like he just lagged out?
Maybe, but yeah, it was a little strange to say the least. It's not the first time that he's done it either, so that's something that I'm hoping not to see here.
Yep, now looking at that screen there.
Yeah, I think that gives away something there for Apex.
Yeah, which that's interesting. Now the lineups for these maps are already submitted ahead of time, so they can't sit there and change it. The other teams just don't know what they're running yet. So if you're looking down at the screens, T110 E4. Now that would be an interesting pick.
Yeah, I don't think we actually saw that at all in APAC this season, at least not in any of the broadcast games.
I'm trying to think if we saw that at all either. We saw the E3 a lot.
Oh yeah, E3 was
But
there.
the E4,
no.
That is a rather interesting pick if we do see that come through. Now, he may just be looking at it in his garage while they're on timeout.
Yeah.
But that looked like it was set up with camo and all, so we'll have to see if that comes through.
Alex would be pretty happy with that. He's been salivating licking his lips at the possibility of a T110 E4 coming out. If we saw it here, he'd be very happy, I think.
Yeah, well, the E4 is a great tank. Just, you know, as far as pub matches go and that sort of thing, you know, high alpha TD has the turret, gives you a little bit more flexibility than the E3.
Yep.
You just lose the trade-off of the armor. The E3's armor is what just makes it, you know, one of the most used tank destroyers next to the grill and the 4005 is just, it's able to play hold down positions extraordinarily well. It's almost impenetrable when sold down, just acceptable to. The biggest thing is when the teams bring those high alpha TDs and fire HE shells or HES shells out of a 4005, can kind of chip away at them, you know, 300-400 at a time. Judging by the cheers we're hearing from Wargaming, we should be underway here in just a moment.
Yep.
Looking at the lineups here, and we do see the E4 out of Wargaming. Apex, though, bringing 3 100s, 2 T57s, a Bat Chat, and a WZ111.
Yeah.
Wargaming, 2 100s, 2 50Bs, 113. That E4 and the RU251.
I do like the lineup from Apex, the heavy lineup. The E100 is going to be so difficult to deal with here, considering there's 3 of them plus a couple of T57 heavies there. But the real question for me is how this T110 E4 is going to go.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting pick, and it's going to be Wargaming on attack. And all Apex need to do is just hold on to this defense and close this out, and it will be a 5-2 scoreline.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Definitely is. See what Wargaming can show us on the attacking side here of Ghost Town. They have a 67% win rate overall on the attacking side of Ghost Town in our season. So that's not great considering you know, where their general statistics lie.
Yep, a lot of damage going off towards external. Down 1,700 HP.
He hasn't been taken down just yet, but that's certainly a fair chunk of damage going the way of external. And Wargaming, they might be a little disappointed not to be able to capitalize upon that kill, but overall, I think the job that they've done has been done quite well. Though, losing quite a lot of HP there on the RU251 as well.
Yep, and look at that E4 in the south corner there of E7, just playing that outside ramp where he can really use his turret, which that's kind of an ingenious way to use that E4 where he can poke around and have a nice big shot, have some armor to block stuff. The E3 wouldn't really be able to play that position just because of the lack of the turret. However, what he has to worry about is Canadian Impact, and the Bat Chat is all the way down and out along that 0 line, and if he gets spotted, he'll go down basically for free.
Oh, Quiet's in a dangerous position here. If he gets wrapped around upon from the side, he's going to be under a lot of pressure. And there you go, Cooler getting the job done. The T57's working quite nicely in unison, but external does get traded out. So overall, I still like that trade though for Apex. I mean, they got a lot of damage across, and the T57 heavy that was so low still managed to get or probably almost a clip out, if not an entire clip. So I think overall, not too bad for Apex, and now Wargaming again are going to be on the back foot.
Yep, and the split push coming through here from Apex, using the E100s to draw a lot of the fire. The 57s are probably going to wrap around behind them. Trades going back and forth. One shot penning that E4. Now the 50B in the north there for Wargaming, getting off a lot of shots. And finally the push comes around from the south. Looking for the kill shot onto that E4, doesn't get it, so just settles for a shot into that 50B.
Guanren goes down to Nix. It does seem like Apex is going to be having a much better time of this one than Wargaming at this point. We do see a couple of kills again going the way of Apex. So really, just 4 tanks left alive now for Wargaming, 6 for Apex. And at this point, you have to say, I think it's going to be Apex going through to the semi-finals. Should be a 5-2 scoreline.
Yep, and Akula just driving through here, trying to get Fox. Does get him down. And 1 tank left alive, already has a damaged ammo rack and a dead driver. Not a whole lot he can do versus the remaining players for Apex.
Nope, certainly not. That's going to be it all said and done here. Wargaming will be bowing out as soon as this reload comes across, or the ram maybe from the E100. No, he's not. Still. Come on, there we go. Finally the job does get done by Apex, and 5-2. Going to be going the way of the North American team. So as most people predicted, pretty much everyone except me, it's going to be two European teams and 2 North American teams through to the semis.